Hello there, guys! Today I'm going to talk about the Battlestar Galactica miniseries. Let's jump right into it. The 2003 Battlestar Galactica miniseries marked a bold reimagining of the 1978 science fiction series, transforming what was once a campy space opera into a gritty, politically charged drama. Airing on the Sci-Fi Channel, the two-part miniseries served as both a narrative reboot and a thematic reset, setting the tone for one of the most acclaimed science fiction shows of the early 21st century. Its success can be attributed to a combination of timely socio-political relevance, a compelling and mature storytelling approach, and a starkly realistic portrayal of a society under existential threat. At its core, Battlestar Galactica tells the story of humanity's near extinction at the hands of its own creations, the Cylons. Originally developed as robotic laborers and soldiers, the Cylons evolved into sentient beings who rebelled against their human creators. After a prolonged and bloody war, an armistice was declared, and the Cylons disappeared into deep space. The miniseries picks up 40 years later, as the long-dormant Cylons return, not to negotiate, but to annihilate. The Cylons' attack on the 12 colonies is swift and devastating. Using advanced infiltration tactics and exploiting humanity's over-reliance on network technology, the Cylons disable planetary defenses and launch a genocidal assault. Billions are killed in moments, and civilization collapses overnight. Only a ragtag fleet of civilian ships, protected by the aging Battlestar Galactica, manages to escape. The remnants of humanity must now flee across the stars, pursued by a relentless enemy, with dwindling resources and uncertain hope. The militaristic tone of the miniseries also reflects the shift in popular media following 9/11. Gone are the pristine starships and utopian ideals of earlier science fiction. The aesthetic is industrial, the chain of command is rigid, and every decision is steeped in moral complexity. The show examines the burdens of leadership in crisis, the sacrifice of individual liberties for collective survival, and the psychological toll of war on both soldiers and civilians. These are not abstract science fiction concepts, they are reflections of the cultural climate of the early 2000s. Moreover, the miniseries dared to pose difficult questions without offering easy answers. What does it mean to survive when everything that defines a society is gone? Can humanity maintain its values in the face of extinction? And what happens when the line between human and machine, between creator and creation, begins to blur? Among the few survivors of the genocide is Commander William Adama, the commanding officer of the Battlestar Galactica. From his very first appearance in the miniseries, Adama is portrayed as a deeply principled, old-school military leader. He commands respect through quiet authority and an unshakable sense of duty. Galactica itself, an outdated warship being decommissioned and turned into a museum at the start of the story, mirrors Adama's own status, a relic of the past. Underestimated, but still badass. The miniseries uses the crisis of the Cylon attack to reveal the depth of Adama's character. In the face of total annihilation, he does not crumble. Instead, he becomes a central pillar of leadership and stability for what remains of humanity. His pragmatism, military discipline, and emotional restraint are tested as he transitions from commanding a ship to guiding a fractured and traumatized civilian fleet. In this new role, Adama becomes more than a soldier, he becomes a guardian of civilization, tasked not just with fighting an enemy, but with protecting the very idea of humanity itself. Lee Adama, callsign Apollo, enters the miniseries as a skilled but emotionally conflicted Viper pilot, caught between personal ideals and the weight of legacy. As the son of Commander William Adama, Lee represents a younger generation shaped not by war but by its consequences, and his presence introduces a critical thematic contrast, the tension between military tradition and personal conviction. From the outset, the relationship between Lee and his father is strained. The miniseries subtly hints at years of emotional distance, rooted in differing values, unresolved grief, and the pressures of living in the shadow of a respected but stern parent. Lee does not serve aboard Galactica by choice, and his arrival during the ship's decommissioning ceremony already carries an undertone of resistance. He is proud of his skills and principles, but uncomfortable with the blind loyalty and rigid hierarchy that military life often demands. The sudden Cylon attack thrusts Lee into a position of responsibility far greater than what he had anticipated. He quickly becomes one of the few experienced pilots left to defend the remnants of humanity, and in doing so, he begins to earn the respect of others, not just as the commander's son, but as a leader in his own right. Lee's character serves as a moral counterbalance to his father, where Commander Adama often makes decisions based on necessity and experience. Lee questions authority, challenges protocol, and voices ethical concerns, especially when the line between survival and compromise begins to blur. Kara Thrace, known by her call sign Starbuck, explodes onto the screen as one of Battlestar Galactica's most dynamic and unpredictable figures. From her first moments in the miniseries, Starbuck challenges every expectation of what a military officer and a female character in science fiction should be. Fiercely independent, insubordinate, and reckless, she is also one of the fleet's most talented pilots, and she knows it. The miniseries quickly establishes her as a force of nature, someone who thrives in chaos and doesn't shy away from confrontation, whether in the cockpit or with commanding officers. What makes Starbuck compelling is not just her skill, but her contradictions. She outwardly projects toughness, arrogance, and defiance, but underneath lies a complex and wounded individual. The miniseries gives us glimpses of this depth without over-explaining it, through small moments of loyalty, raw emotion, and quiet reflection. Starbuck's antagonistic relationship with authority, especially with higher-ranking officers, immediately sets her apart. She's punished early on for disobedience, reinforcing her role as the fleet's problem child. But when the Cylon attack begins, her true value becomes undeniable. In the midst of disaster, Starbuck becomes indispensable, a fearless pilot, a natural leader, and a fighter who refuses to be broken, no matter how dire the circumstances. Dr. Gaius Baltar enters the Battlestar Galactica miniseries as a symbol of intellect, arrogance, and moral frailty. A brilliant scientist and celebrity within the 12 colonies, Baltar is a man who enjoys his fame, influence, and privileges, but beneath his polished exterior lies a dangerous combination of vanity, insecurity, and selfishness. The miniseries wastes no time in showing how these traits make him a key player in humanity's downfall. Unknowingly manipulated by a humanoid Cylon infiltrator, Baltar becomes the tool of genocide. Through his ambition and desire for personal gain, he grants access to the colony's defense systems, blinding them to the Cylon attack. When the destruction begins, Baltar survives not through courage or sacrifice, but through luck and instinct for self-preservation. Yet despite his central role in the annihilation of humanity, he keeps this secret buried, setting the stage for one of the series' most morally complex characters. Chief Galen Tyro stands out in the Battlestar Galactica miniseries not as a politician, a warrior, or a pilot, but as something rarer in science fiction, a working-class hero. As the deck chief aboard the Battlestar Galactica, Tyro is responsible for the maintenance of the fleet's Viper fighters and support craft. But beyond the technical duties, he's portrayed as the backbone of the ship, respected by his crew, trusted by the officers, and grounded in decency, loyalty, and quiet strength. The miniseries introduces Tyro as a man caught between two worlds, the hard realities of enlisted life and the rigid hierarchy of the military. He's no stranger to authority, but he often acts as a mediator between the command staff and the rank-and-file crew. He leads not with rank, but with earned respect. While others are making high-level decisions about war and survival, Tyro is down on the hangar deck, keeping the tools in motion, the planes in the air, and the people functioning under enormous stress. Carl Hilo Agathon begins the Battlestar Galactica miniseries as a secondary figure, a Raptor pilot, competent and dependable, but not the center of attention. Yet by the end of the story, Hilo becomes one of the most symbolically important characters in the show, embodying themes of sacrifice, compassion, and the blurred line between humanity and its enemies. Sharon Boomer Valeri is introduced in the Battlestar Galactica miniseries as a skilled and reliable Raptor pilot aboard the Galactica. From the start, she exemplifies the professional soldier, calm under pressure, loyal to her crew, and dedicated to her duties. Yet beneath her composed exterior, the miniseries begins to hint at a deeper complexity that will unfold throughout the show. Number 6 is one of the most iconic and enigmatic figures introduced in the Battlestar Galactica miniseries. From her very first scene, she embodies seduction, intelligence, and danger, all wrapped in a strikingly human form. Unlike other Cylons who are clearly mechanical, Number 6 appears fully human, blurring the lines between enemy and ally, reality and illusion. In the miniseries, Number 6's role is crucial, yet mysterious. She infiltrates human society not through brute force, but through manipulation and psychological control. Her interactions with Dr. Gaius Baltar, reveal her as both tempter and tormentor, using charm to exploit his weaknesses and further the Cylon agenda. President Laura Roslin emerges in the Battlestar Galactica miniseries as a figure of calm authority and moral conviction amid chaos. Initially the Secretary of Education, Roslin unexpectedly finds herself thrust into the highest office of the 12 colonies when the Cylon attack wipes out the existing government leadership. The miniseries portrays her not as a career politician, but as a reluctant leader who must rise to the occasion in humanity's darkest hour. Colonel Saltai is introduced in the Battlestar Galactica miniseries as the tough, no-nonsense executive officer aboard the Galactica, serving directly under Commander Adama. Tai embodies the hardened military professional, gritty, pragmatic, and fiercely loyal to both the ship and its crew. His character immediately establishes a counterbalance to Adama's more measured leadership style, providing a raw and sometimes abrasive perspective on the challenges the fleet faces. From the start, Tai's dedication to duty is clear. He is a battle-tested officer who has seen countless conflicts and understands the brutal realities of war. His tough demeanor and straightforward approach earn him respect among the crew, but also tension, especially when his bluntness clashes with others in the chain of command. So that's it. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.